In this video, we'll show you how to set up and configure Centro Broadcasts, the tool for sending messages to multiple Slack channels or multiple Microsoft Teams chats or channels. This assumes that the Centro core package has already been installed and configured to either Slack or Teams. In this video, we'll describe the Slack process. A similar process would hold true for Teams. So we will assume the package has been installed on the Salesforce side. This is done through the App Exchange. And similarly, that's the Centro package has been installed in Slack and connected to our Salesforce org. We can confirm that by navigating to the Centro app and seeing this connection in the upper right corner here. Now, for the installation, your Centro representative will have given you a link, and we'll simply install this like we would any other Salesforce package. You'll see under advanced options whether to compile an Apex in the org default. Go ahead and leave that selected and install for admins only. Once the package is done installing, we'll need to assign some permission sets. So let's find the permission set Centro Broadcast user and assign that to at least our user and any other user you want exposed to this functionality. Make sure this user is also, for testing purposes, assigned to the Centro admin permission set and the Centro users permission set. Note that non-admin users will not need the Centro admin license, but likely will need the Centro user license. Also ensure that under the installed packages for Centro that you are assigned a license as the admin and anyone else that needs this functionality. Now we can go to the Centro Broadcast tab or app and see the Centro Broadcast tab as kind of our dashboard for creating audiences, sending broadcast messages to Slack or Teams, and then reporting on those messages and their subsequent actions. The first thing we'll want to do is set up audiences. You can set this up or your team can set these up. And an audience is simply a collection of Slack channels or Microsoft Teams channels or chats that you want to send these messages to. So for the first one, we'll call it external customer Slack Connect. This is a common use case where you have multiple customers inside of Slack Connect and you want to broadcast release notes or updates to them in Slack. We'll also create for testing purposes, we'll also create external partners, Slack Connect. You can imagine you want slightly different messaging to partners versus customers. Okay, now that we have those audiences set up, how do we populate them? We highly recommend using the Centro tool set to do so. Your team can do this, or you can do this as an administrator. And there are ways to do this in batch, but for demonstration purposes, we will show you how to do it from the account level. If you haven't done so yet, we highly recommend placing the Centro Live Links component onto the page layout of the account page. And This will allow a link between a Salesforce record and a Slack or Teams conversation. So the reason that's important is we need to know the channel IDs of where to send these to. And I'll show you why in a second. So we can see our Lightning Web Component here is placed on the page. I'll quickly sign into Slack to associate my user so that they can post messages into Slack. That's not required, but highly recommended. And what we'll want to do is link this account to a Slack channel. So if we have an existing channel, we can find it here in the list, or we can create a new channel. And let's pretend this is our external Acme channel that we have conversations with in Slack Connect. Of course, the live link can invite internal users or external contacts to this channel. That's a detailed video and setup guide. By creating this channel, we can of course see it here in the Lightning Web Component. However, we can also see it now as a linked conversation. So that will show our conversation here in the list as a linked conversation, showing it's the link between this record and this channel in Slack. Now, let's do this for at least one more, just to demonstrate the feature. As you can see, this is creating these channels and creating those linkages. Okay, so now let's go back to our Centro Broadcasts. And we have this audience builder feature where teams can create and manage their own audiences. And you can hit next. And the first screen here is to show our list of audiences we just created in the Audiences tab. We'll work on the Slack external customers first. And now we will select our linked conversations and hit next. And this will create a record of a Slack Connect channel that is now connected to that audience. So we can see that here if we drill into external customers, our selected conversation. Now we'll want to build broadcast content. There are two types of messages to send in broadcasts. You can the users can send them unstructured. They can send them in real, like as they create them in a run, or they can create structured content with buttons. So we'll call this release notes. You can send it to a campaign if you wish. And then we can have a rich text Slack first kind of message. And I recommend creating the message either in Slack or in the editor. You can associate buttons with this as well. And when clicked, those messages will be tracked. Okay, if we hit save, then we'll have our content ready for broadcasting. So now users can start their broadcast experience here. We'll hit next on this box. We'll first select an audience. We'll pick the one we just set. Now we check whether or not we want a structured or free-formed broadcast. We'll pick structured to use the content we just created. If you choose freeform, it will allow users to type in messages on the fly. So we'll select our recently created content, hit next, and there's a test feature where you can test this out first before sending it. So we'll just select a test channel, hit send, and that should show up in Slack. Here's the content that we just created, and then once we're ready, we can select or deselect the audience channels that we want to send. We'll select all from here, and then that will send out the broadcast. Here is that content in the channel that was selected. Clicking book a call will trigger that someone engaged with that content. And then when we refresh our dashboard, there'll be more videos on this, but you can see our reports start to build out. So we had one delivery of one content and an engagement of that content. So more on that in a different video, but this is how to get started with Centro Broadcasts. Let us know if you have any questions.